First up, a huge thank you to Panenka Bar and Grill for supporting the channel. You can find us there before every home game and post-game, either celebrating or drowning our sorrows. It's a great premium bar and it's situated less than half a mile from beautiful downtown Bramall Lane.
Also, a huge thank you to 𝗵𝗵𝗴𝗃. They are a virtual band who create innovative musical experiences just for you. But you already knew that, didn't you? We've been talking about them for long enough. But please do go to 𝗵𝗵𝗴𝗃.com and check them out because they are awesome.
Ole, ole, ole. Ole, ole, ole. Ole, ole, ole.
Welcome to the Sheffield United way, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. Automatics are all over. I'll be honest, did not see this coming a couple of months ago. I thought it was going to go practically down to the wire. I know we've only got a couple of games remaining. It just feels like we should have pushed them and pushed them and pushed them. But the better two clubs have gone up. You've got to say that. Burnley with their incredible defensive record and Leeds with their incredible attacking record and defensive record, really, as well. Yeah, it's unfortunate we've had to say this. We've just got to be honest, haven't we? And especially after today. I thought that Burnley were by far, the had the more quality, let's say. I think you could see it from minute one. I know we pushed and we did, especially in the first half. We really gave it a good go in the first half. We'll come on to the second half in a little bit, but we did give it a bit of a go. But at the same time, you can't expect to go up when you lose to both teams who finished first and second, but twice. Like, it's not good enough. At least we scored a goal this time against Burnley. We didn't at home. We managed to get a goal against Leeds. We didn't away. So yeah, it's not good enough, really, in all honesty, to finish in that top two. But we're where we expected to be, before the match started. I think some people saying on social media that the pressure was all on Burnley. Some people saying the pressure's all on the Blades. It obviously had to be on the Blades because we had to win. We had to win to stop Burnley from getting promoted. I think if we'd have won as well, Leeds wouldn't have got promoted today. I'm not sure about that one, but it seemed like that what they were saying on the telly. But yeah, we'd have only been 2 points behind Burnley, I believe, if we'd have won today. Looking at the table, if we'd have won those three crazy games in a week, we'd be top of the league. As ridiculous as it sounds, we'd have been top of the league if we'd have beaten Oxford, Plymouth, and Millwall. Just crazy. But we didn't deserve it. We did not deserve it. We didn't deserve to finish in those top two, especially recently. But yeah, anyway, before we get into talking about the game at length, I just want to introduce you to a new sponsor, Netmore. We're extremely excited to announce Netmore as an official sponsor of the Sheffield United Way YouTube channel and podcast. Earn £350 a year by leasing your rooftop space and help bring cutting-edge IoT connectivity to Yorkshire. Simply scan the QR code on screen, visit the website, or click the link in the description to chat with Dom and the Netmore team and see if your location is a match for their rollout. No pressure, no hassle, just one blade helping other blades make a bit of extra cash. So there you go. Go and speak to Dom and the team at Netmore. I guess most people understand that we have to do these sorts of sponsors and things like that just to keep the lights on. These lights don't keep themselves on. So yeah, go over to either click the link in the description or scan the QR code that was on screen just a minute ago. Now, let's talk about the game. Now, we went with two up front. That is the first time, I believe, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, I believe that's the only time this season that we've gone two up front. Maybe in game, we'll change to two up front. But I don't think we've gone two up front all season. We started with 𝗍𝗵𝗴𝗃 up front in the first few games of the season. I believe it was a bit of injury, I think, and a bit of lack of form that kind of made us change things around. Obviously, Cannon's come in recently as well, and you know, he's vying for a spot. But it's been Campbell for the most part playing up top, and you know, today we've gone with two strikers. They put it up on Sky at the bottom of the screen. 𝗣𝗲𝗲 hadn't started since New Year's Day, and Tom Cannon hadn't scored in his first 12 games for the Blades. So that didn't bode well, really, did it? Let's be honest, from the start. But I'll be honest, Cannon got his goal. Obviously, that's honest, eh? Cannon got his goal, and I thought 𝗣𝗲𝗲 had a pretty good game. So I'm not bashing Wilder in the slightest for picking those two. Campbell has looked a bit leggy as of late. I just think he needs a really, really good pre-season under his belt just to get him that fitness, because he never really had a great pre-season with the Blades, obviously, because you know, he's been, yeah, he'd not played a lot of games of football before signing for us, and he certainly did look very, very unfit when he first signed for us. But for me, Campbell is our best striker, and the fact that you're going into this game with your best striker on the bench, Callum O'Hare on the bench, didn't even see any of this game today. Quite a few. It's a really stacked bench, in all honesty. We've got some really, really good players on the bench. We've got some really good players on the pitch too, and really you should be able to, you know, mix and match and you know, put players in there that you think can cause the other team a problem. And you know, 𝗣𝗲𝗲 was put in there for that reason. Tom Cannon put in there because Tom Cannon plays better with a big striker up front with him. So on paper, that should have been a good idea. And for me, it was for the most part. Like I said, Tom Cannon got his goal, which was really, really good to see. That's going to give him some really good kind of positive feeling going into the rest of the campaign. He also did this as well as his celebration, which I think was a little bit of a nod to the fact that a lot of people have been talking about him and talking about him maybe not being quite good enough or at it at this level right now for the Blades. But yeah, we go into the game, and in all honesty, we took it to them. We really, really took it to them. And this is exactly how I expected us to start. Maybe not necessarily the team and how we went about, you know, imposing ourselves in this game, because the Leeds game, we went with Tyrese Campbell up front, and then, you know, no, it wasn't Gus, was it? I think it was O'Hare, 𝗍𝗏𝗏 and Brereton Diaz, if I'm right. And you know, we played high press, very quick football, you know, balls over the top, really, really trying to be direct against Leeds. We did the same against Middlesbrough, same against Coventry. In this game, we did the same thing, but with a different system. There was a lot of big balls up top for 𝗣𝗲𝗲 to kind of contest with 𝗣𝗏 and Egan Riley. I didn't reckon much to Egan Riley, in all honesty, today, but 𝗣𝗏, I can see why everybody raves about him, in all honesty. But I think 𝗣𝗏𝗏 did a good job up there. We had three half-decent efforts, I would say, in the first sort of 20 minutes, and they all went straight at the goalkeeper. I think there was one from Moore in there, maybe one from Harmer and Peck, I want to say. But yeah, three attempts straight down the throat of one of the best goalkeepers in this championship. So, you know, you're not going to score goals from those, and the expected goals really told you that was the case, because in the first half, we obviously scored a goal. They scored 2 goals. Our expected goals is 0.42, and theirs was 1.08. And that's including the penalty, obviously. So it just shows that we didn't really create that many clear-cut chances. A lot of them were pop shots from distance, or we get into the box and they've got kind of 5 or 6 men behind the ball, but we're going for a shot anyway through legs and hoping that, you know, it either ends in the corner or it takes a deflection or something like that. But no, it wasn't quite good enough to beat Trafford in the goal. Yeah, for me, we started really well. I think Burnley came into the game a little bit, but we were on top, in my opinion, for most of that first half. I think they had more of the ball, but we actually kind of pushed them back further in my opinion. They obviously scored their 2 goals. They had 3 shots on target. We had 4 in the first half. We had 10 shots. They had 5. But they had a lot of the ball, a hell of a lot of ball in that first half. And it's in the 28th minute where this goal comes from. And it's poor defending, and it's individual mistakes that's killed us today. Don't get me wrong, we've not created enough chances for me, but at the same time, when you're making these mistakes, and I'm not, it's week in, week out, isn't it? It's week in, week out, and those two playing next to each other, Jack Robinson and 𝗬𝗲𝗲𝗔, for me, it just doesn't work. It's not worked. It's worked for a bit of this season, but I think it works against the lesser teams, in my opinion, when we are having a lot of the ball. Tonight, Burrows on that right-hand side, left-hand side for him, right-hand side for Burnley. He falls over, he slips over, the ball comes into the box. 𝗬𝗲𝗲 tries to head it away, heads it straight at their man. It is pretty fortunate, let's be honest. It's pretty fortunate, but 𝗬𝗲𝗲 needs to be heading that or kicking that well clear. It's a poor header from 𝗬𝗲𝗲. It lands straight to, I think it's Cullen that it lands to, and Gus leaves him. Completely and utterly leaves him, and he gets the ball in the box. Has a bit of a half decent shot that Cooper has to make a smart save down low. He doesn't get up quick enough, and Brownhill is faster than everybody in the box. It feels like a bit of a Michael Brown season for Brownhill, because he scored, what's that now, 16 or 17 goals this season, and he was just quick to it, quick first to it. Really, really good. And, when you're scoring goals week in, week out, you just feel like you can just keep scoring goals week in, week out. And he's done it again today. Had that sniff for goal, and he smashed it in the roof of the net. Not much Cooper could have done about that. Cooper possibly could have palmed it a little bit further away. Maybe got up slightly quicker, but there's not really any point in putting any blame on Cooper when there was quite a few mistakes in there. The reason why Josh Brownhill's quicker to this is because Jack Robinson is the wrong side of him. And again, I've played football before, not to obviously anywhere near this standard, but if 𝗬𝗲𝗲's heading that ball away, Jack Robinson's almost moving forward with him, and then it hits the defender, it comes to Cullen, and Brownhill's already in front of Jack Robinson because Jack Robinson's anticipating the ball going out, and Brownhill's just hoping that the ball doesn't go out, if you know what I mean. And then he's in a better position than Jack Robinson to fire this in the back of the net. So that's 1-0 after 28 minutes. Just before that as well, Gus Harmer gets a booking. It's a really cynical foul, and I was worried from then on that Gus is going to get another booking and he's going to miss the next game. Like, it's it wouldn't be the end of the world because we're obviously in the playoffs now. We're not chasing anything. We will finish third. Like, there's no chance of anybody catching us. We will finish third, and we will play 6th in the table, whoever that may be. Sometimes that means you're playing a team banging form and they're going to, fly into this game with a momentum behind them. It doesn't feel like that right now because let's have a little look at the table. We'll get into talking about the rest of the game in a second, but let's have a look at the table as of right now because I believe it is as it was because I think everybody lost today. We obviously just lost. Sunderland lost. Bristol City lost. Coventry lost. Millwall lost. Everybody lost. And actually, I don't know if Millwall won today, but I think that's Millwall beat Norwich 3-1. So that's put Millwall right in it. But there are only 2 games left. That was Borough's chance to get into the playoffs today, and they were in the playoffs at one point, and then they managed to lose it to Wednesday. So currently, we are playing Coventry in the playoffs. It's either going to be Bristol City, Coventry, Millwall, or Middlesbrough. I can't see Blackburn getting there. Definitely not West Brom. So it's going to be one of those. I'm glad we're not playing Sunderland because even though Sunderland's lost 3 games in a row, wow, that's terrible. Sunderland's lost 3 games in a row. Saying that, we did. We did. Even though Sunderland's lost 3 games in a row, I still worry the most about Sunderland. Sunderland are a really, really good team. Whether, recent form tells you that or not, they are a really good team. Like I say, everybody's lost today to teams below them. So I think that just shows you where the teams in the playoffs are, faring right now, because, I'm not worried about any of them at all. I'm not saying that we're going to go and absolutely smash these playoffs, but what I'm saying is there's no team, maybe Millwall, they're the only ones that you can look at if they can sneak in, because Millwall have won 4 out of 5. We've actually lost 4 out of 5. So, Blackburn have won 3 in a row. If they can, win the last 2 and hope that others don't, can't see it. But they're the only one. Wow. I've just realised that Swansea, yes, they're on 60 points. So they'd have to win both games and expect everybody else to lose. But they've won 5 games in a row, Swansea. So as you can see, there's not really a lot of teams going into the playoffs with a lot of momentum. So if we can go to Stoke and then we can play Blackburn last game of the season, win those 2 games, get a little bit of momentum going into the playoffs, that would be lovely. Anyway, let's get back on to talking about this first half, because this is where all the goals came from, unfortunately. And then in the 46th minute, just going into the second half, if I'd have told myself that, I'd have been really, really gutted. But in the 37th minute, less than 10 minutes after Brownhill scored that goal, Tom Cannon finally gets his goal and puts the Blades level. And do you know what? For me, this is one of the best finishes of the season. I absolutely love strikers smashing it into the roof of the net, because the goalkeepers always get really low in those positions. The guard in the post, they're making sure there's no error on their part. And if that ball goes into the roof of the net, that's definitely not a goalkeeper's fault. And to be a man like James Trafford, you've got to find, those places that he's not going to get to. And Gus Harmer, he was instrumental in our attack in the first half. He was taking chances. He was kind of running through players, playing lovely 1-2s. And at this moment in time, he lays a ball through to Cannon. Cannon almost hits his heel and kind of goes the other way, because you see that quite often when a player, the ball's not quite perfect and it's kind of under his feet, so he jumps over it. It almost looks like he's a bit off balance, but he regains his balance and smashes the ball into the roof of the net just before Egan Riley can get across to him. It's a wonderful finish, a brilliant finish, and hopefully that gives Cannon, the confidence to go on and score more goals, because, that could be the first of many for Cannon. I know we've said this about Brewster a lot in his Blades career, but hopefully that means that Cannon... The thing is, let's be honest, Tom Cannon, that's his first massive chance. I don't think he's missed a better chance than that today. And that was by far definitely not a good chance. It was a decent chance. It was a half chance, in my opinion. It's just the acute angle. Like, you should not score from there unless it's high up, and that's exactly where he put it. That's exactly where he needed to put it, and that gets the Blades back to 1-1. And this is where they give you hope. And do you know what? I'd much rather have hope, because if we'd have gone and lost this game 2-0, 2 goals in the first half, nothing in the second half, I'd have been a lot more disappointed. But the fact that we got that goal, they gave us that little bit of hope, and then it got dashed, 7 minutes later from the penalty spot. And again, it's an individual error. Yes, Hannibal's in a good position in the box to strike it, but I'd always rather him strike the ball from there through bodies than have a free kick at goal. A penalty that shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened, because 𝗫𝗏𝗄𝗃 should not have swung his leg out at that. It was really, really... He was schoolboy defending, really. I don't think he's seen Hannibal, and I've seen this happen time and time again. Hannibal knew exactly what he was doing. He just needed to get that touch on it, because he could see that 𝗫𝗏 was going to clean him out. And clean him out he did. And it's even worse, it was Hannibal, because Hannibal is an absolute S-house, shall we say. And the referee bought it at every single moment, except for this one. This one, Stonewall penalty. 𝗫𝗏 was really, really silly. But Hannibal, all game, he just waited for the tiniest bit of contact went down, and the referee bought it every single time. And that's what really wound me up, because I don't mind players doing that, because at the end of the day, like, it all comes from Premier League, doesn't it? And lots of Premier League players do things like that and go down by the slightest little touches. And as years go on, it filters down to the Championship, then League One, then League Two. I'm not sure how far down the English pyramid it's got yet, but it's certainly rife in the Championship, and certainly rife with the better players. And Hannibal certainly is one of the better players. But I'm not saying he lets himself down by doing these dark arts, shall we say. But, you know, that's just what these players do. That's just what good players do. They know how to win fouls, and he did it all day long. There was probably 4 or 5 where I'm like, he's barely touched him, or he's bought that foul, and, you know, the referee should have clamped down on it straight away. If he'd have not given 1 or 2, then he would have stopped doing that, and he'd have stopped getting away with it. But anyway, we're talking about the penalty. It's a well-taken penalty. I don't know. Cooper's obviously been sent the wrong way. I don't know. I can't really critique a penalty where he's sent in the wrong way. It looked like he was going to go where he went, but obviously Cooper may have thought that he's pretending to go that way and goes a different way. I don't know. But, you know, it's a well-taken penalty from Brownhill. That's 2 goals for him in this game. And like I said, I think that's 16 or 17 for the season. So fair play. And do you know what? That is the winner on the 44th minute. And that's very, very sad. And the fact that it's even sadder, if that's a word, is because in the second half, our XG, I know a lot of people don't like XG, but you've got to understand that our XG was 0.16. Burnley had 0.37, and we had most of the ball, and it was constantly in their box. Really, really poor to see from the Blades that we couldn't muster up one really good opportunity. 4 shots, 0 on target, 60% ball possession. Most of it was pumping it into the box. And, you know, 𝗍𝗍𝗍, even Zian Fleming, those sorts of players, big lads that win the headers, were in the box constantly and just battling. And I don't know why we just keep launching the ball into the box. That never works for us, ever. And today, the amount of balls that got launched into the box, and, you know, they didn't quite clear it, and then it landed to one of their players, and they cleared it, and then they cleared it to one of those players. It's really frustrating because none of it came off for the Blades tonight. I think at one point Campbell may have got into a decent position. Nothing came of that. 𝗍𝗍𝗍 in the second half got down the right-hand side, tried to play a ball across the box, got cut out. The movement wasn't good enough for me. The movement from Campbell and Moore, especially in the second half. You know, 𝗍𝗲𝗲 having shots from miles out on the volley. I love 𝗍𝗲𝗲 to bits, but at the same time, he needs to realise that taking a shot from 25 yards out on the half volley is probably not the best idea. Pick it up, push it to one side, then have a go. I know out of everyone on that pitch tonight, 𝗍𝗲𝗲 is one of those players that can make these, you know, crazy shots end up in the back of the net. But at the same time, James Trafford at the weekend saved Friday saved an absolute screamer right in the top corner. So if you're going to beat Trafford, it's got to be a well-worked move, and you've got to put the ball in the back of the net. You can't be having pop shots from miles out. There was one from Sam McCallum, a header from in the middle of the box, just a looping one towards the corner. It went over the bar, but as if James Trafford's not going to save something that's a looping header into the corner with no power on it and, you know, all the height on it. It gives him loads of time to get across and, you know, just not let it in the back of his own net. So it wasn't even on target, though. So, yeah, really poor from the Blades in the second half. I think we went for it. We went for the jugular in the first, didn't quite get there, and obviously went 2-1 down with a silly mistake from Anel. in the second half, again, we went for it. We had a lot of the ball. We tried to create moments. It wasn't good enough. I think 𝗍𝗍 looked dangerous when he came on, won a couple of free kicks. But one in particular where 𝗍𝗍 had practically just come on. He had a run, I think it was 𝗞𝗵𝗴. He went past him, got brought down, and then it was either 𝗍𝗫𝗲𝗵 or Harrison Burrows that just cleared everyone in the box. And it's those moments where you've got to make sure you put the ball in a really good area. And the quality just wasn't there for me tonight. The only bit of quality was 𝗍𝗫𝗲𝗵 setting up Cannon and Cannon in the ball. I believe it was off the crossbar and in the back of the net. Really, really good finish. But other than that, there wasn't a lot of quality from the Blades today. Obviously, we went for a different sort of formation, a different sort of style of play, different way of playing. And I think it could have worked. It could have worked. I'm not saying that, it worked better than what it would have done if Campbell would have played up front on his own with two high wingers. And then, 𝗍𝗲𝗲 and Peck controlling the midfield as they did for especially the first half today for me. It wasn't to be. It's one of them things, that we all expected that we'd be in the playoffs after that horrendous 3 defeats in a week. But yeah, it's just life. It's just life, guys. We're going into the playoffs. I think as I get older and older, I'm, just accepting it a little bit more accepting of failure. But also, let's just remember that we've had 2 really good promotions in the last sort of 7 or 8 years. We've had a really good season in the Premier League. We can't be too down about it. Like, we've just been beaten by the better teams. And if we hadn't thrown away those 3 games in a week, we'd be top of the league. And that's where you need to put things into perspective. We're on, is it 85 points? I think we're on 86 points. We're currently on. Who'd have thought we'd have been on 86 points after 44 games, 27 wins. We are still, we've won more games than Burnley. We've lost a lot of games. We've lost 10, but we've won more games than Burnley. We've won the same amount as Leeds, the best team in the league, in my opinion. That's some good going. That's some really, really good going. I think just looking at, the wins, draws and losses over the 44 games, Leeds and Burnley have just drawn the games that we've lost, or most of them. And that's the reason why Leeds and Burnley are where they are. Burnley's drawn 16, Leeds have drawn 13, we've drawn 7, and we've lost 8 more than Burnley and 6 more than Leeds. And really, we've lost 4 games against Leeds and Burnley. So 4 of those 10 against the top of the league. So it just shows that we are the 3rd best team in this league. We're just not one of the top 2. It's really, really gutted. It really is. But you got to move on. Let's go into talking about. Well, let's get your thoughts on screen right now. Let's face it, Leeds were head and shoulders above the rest going forward. Burnley were defensively. Yeah, Blake, exactly what I said right at the start. We were lucky to be in the mix, really, after some poor results. Thomas Leaks, not good enough overall. Much better second half. Once again, the Mr. Webb show seriously suffers from little man syndrome. I'm in charge. Yeah, he gave away some. Well, Josh Brownhill really early on had 2 really poor challenges. One on Gus, and I can't remember who the other one was on, but the first one was an awful challenge. I think it was on Vinny Souza, or Vinny Souza, as the commentator kept saying, doing my head in. But yeah, Josh Brownhill probably should have been on a booking earlier on. Not that would have changed much in the course of the game, but the referee would just, off it. Completely and utterly off it. Pathetic second half in a must-win game. Damage was already done, but still so poor. I think it has to be a change in management now. Wild hasn't a clue in setting a team up pre-game or in-game. If I'm being honest, Justin, how many games this season have we started with a different formation because the other team, like we were trying to counter something that they were good at, or we saw a weakness and we smelled blood and we're like, let's do this instead. We just play the same team week in, week out, no matter who we play. And yes, that works for Man City. That works for Liverpool. That works for Arsenal. But in the Championship, you're going to have games where you're below par. You're going to have games where the other team's really good. You've just got to be on it all the time. And you've got to be changing, like you say, not just pre-game, but also in-game too. It feels like all we do is just bring on strikers. And that was the old Warnock tactics, wasn't it? Hopefully the owners haven't been impressed with our collapse. 10 defeats all season and 4 of them in the last 5. Need to get a new identity and a technician in the dugout. I also feel like we need to get some sort of set-piece coach because our set pieces are woeful. Woeful, to say the least. There was one early on in the game where I think it was Gus tried to flick the ball to like the back, not the back post, but like to his left-hand side where Jack Robinson's running around the back. Vinny Souza's blocking a man off and he just massively overhit it. But I'm thinking, why is Jack Robinson there? And why is that not Harrison Burrows that's peeling around the back to put the ball into the box? Jack Robinson should be in the box, like attacking the ball when it comes in eventually, or if it ever does. No, we don't do anything. Don't do anything from corners and anything from free kicks or throw-ins. And the other thing that I wanted to say, actually, that I've just missed out on, in the second half, looking at the stats, one thing that really stood out to me is that we only had 1 corner kick all second half. For all that pressure and for all those balls coming into the box, we only managed to muster up 1 corner. And don't get me wrong, you don't play for corners, but the pressure that you put them under and the balls coming into the box, it should be flying in, them having to defend for their lives, Trafford going from one side to the other, just, trying to keep the ball out of his net. We should have forced them into giving us corners for days. We forced 1 corner, and that one didn't. I remember it. I think they just didn't keep the ball in play when they probably should have done, and it didn't actually look like it was all the way out. And that was it. That's the 1 corner that we forced, and that's really poor in my opinion. Justin, again, can't fault the effort, but very little talent. There you go. I think there is talent. I think where we are the 3rd best team in the league, and I think it shows over the course of the season. It's just whether in these 2 to 3 game shootout we can do what we need to do to get promoted to the Premier League. Crossing into the box was terrible. Agreed. If we hadn't given the penalty away, it could have been different. We played pretty good. Save ourselves for the playoffs now, says Andrew. Yeah, I think we played half decent. And yeah, maybe the penalty did shape the rest of the game. Obviously, they sat back more and more and more. They didn't really need to go forward, in all honesty, but they went forward because they smelt blood and they felt they could score more, which they obviously didn't in the end. Sorry, I missed that one. Thought they did okay in the second half, pressure-wise. That was that. NL, what was NL thinking, giving away the penalty? Chowdhury, what a player! My man of the match. I'd definitely be buying him. Yeah, I don't think Leicester would want much for him either. But I think Chowdhury, if we get promoted, I don't think Chowdhury. We do try and sign Chowdhury because I feel like we should be setting our sights a little bit higher for the Premier League. But I think Chowdhury is a really, really good squad player for the Blades. And I don't want to do him a disservice by saying squad player because I think he's been fantastic at right back. I think he's played well in the midfield as well. So, I say squad player because bit of a rotation player. And if you've got a really, really good right back, then Chowdhury shouldn't be playing there, really, as it's not his first position, but he was really good again. Can't think of any shots on our goal in the second half from 6 fingers, apparently. Okay. But anyone whoever goes up this time, next year will have been relegated. Maybe so. No shame in losing to a tap-in and a soft pen. Thought Gus gave his all. Still don't get why the media love Burnley so much, neither do I. Ricky, nice to see you, mate. A good performance today. Something to build on. We may have lost, but we've lost to the best defence in England. Now let's build for the playoffs and create a fairy tale ending. Up the blades. Up the Sheffield United way. I like that. Thank you very much. Feel like Cooper could have done better with the first goal. I didn't say that. I did a little bit. But it's not obviously not just me that thought that. 2-1, lads. Yep, 2-1. Given our history with the playoffs, it's going to be nerve-wracking. It's going to be nerve-wracking. Hopefully, we can go all the way this time if we play like we have all season. Nick, if we get to Wembley, are you going on Kaz's coach from Burnley? I might do. The thing is with me, for these big games, I normally go with my family. So it depends if they want to go. My dad says every time we've gone to Wembley, he said, I'm not going next time. I'm not going next time. But you've got to go, because if you don't go and you get promoted, that one time you don't go, then you'll never live it down. Like the only Sheffield derby that I've missed since I was about 7 years old was the Bouncing Day massacre. And I will never let myself forgive that. Yes, maybe. I do live in Freshfield, Burnley. I don't know. I used to live in Waterthorpe. So since I've moved to S12, I'm still not really sure if it's Freshfield or Burnley or what. But I might just do that. So, drop me a message on Twitter, Facebook, wherever, mate. As a Leeds fan, 𝗲𝗲 𝗲𝗿 𝗲 got Leeds over the line. I completely agree, and that should have happened sooner, really. See you at Wembley. Yep, hopefully, Hal. Hopefully, mate, we'll have a cuddle at Wembley. That'll be nice. Hopefully, before the game and not, consoling each other. Not going on club's coach. You're not allowed to take beer on, and I'm not getting ripped off in London. Yeah, too right. I'm with you there. I've been to the match. I'm sure we only scored 1 goal. Have I? I don't know what's happened here. Only scored 1 goal. Yeah, I think we did too. Have I done something wrong? Have I put that we've scored more goals than we have? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Leeds promoted to the Prem. Yeah, thank you very much. We are Premier League. I'm guessing that's Leeds as well. All things considered, it wasn't a bad game, but would have liked Callum O'Hare brought on in the second half to work his magic with 𝗲𝗲, as I think they would have opened them up a bit more. Hate the Prem anyway. Too right, Shaz. Too right. Another average performance. Are we overachieving with the players that we have, or underachieving with Wilder's tactics? Playoffs, hoping for the best, but expecting the worst. Absolute capitulation. Slow week, no method, a stubborn manager. I hope the new owners pick a new boss in the summer. Wilder's holding us back big time. Donkey Moore, my life. Wow, I thought 𝗲𝗲 had a good game today. Let us know what you think in the comments, everyone. That's what Phil thinks. No need for us to speak like the season's over. I don't think we are. We know that we're in the playoffs, which it's nice to know that we're in the playoffs, because I've been in a position where we've been 7th, 8th, 9th, and we're just trying to get into the playoffs. At least we're there, unlike another team in Sheffield. Their season finished after we beat them, and they'll be losing the manager. So, it could be worse. I thought we were the better team. They know and play the dark arts very well. Horrible team, says Joseph. Shameful act from Burnley players and fans. Yeah, I don't know what happened with 𝗬𝗲. I don't know what happened. And then players were celebrating in front of us as well. I think it all seemed a bit crass, in all honesty. What are you thinking for the playoffs now, pal? Yes, John. I am thinking that I think we're in the best position possible. I really, really do. I think, obviously, we could go into it in better form. We need to go and win these last 2 games, or, in my opinion, to go into it with a bit of form, we need to take 4 points into it. Like, obviously, it doesn't matter how many points we finish with. We're on 86 at the moment. It would be nice to hit that 90 mark at least. and that would be a win and a draw. So we'll have to wait and see, John. But hopefully, I think we're in a good place. We've got some good players. We've probably got the best squad on paper in the playoffs, but that obviously doesn't always mean that you're going to win the playoffs. And we've had some terrible, terrible times in the playoffs. But I probably said this about Warnock. If anyone would win us the playoffs, it has to be Chris Wilder, doesn't it? Because being a Blade, he'll have been there with us. All those under Warnock, under Blackwell, under Wilson. He'll have been there with us, supporting the Blades, Wilder. He'll feel it as much as we do. So hopefully it'd be nice to see Wilder get us over the line and into the Premier League. Let's move on. Lots of people just chatting between themselves. Fair enough. Fair enough. Why aren't we using O'Hare? Not sure, in all honesty. Gavin's clearly a Leeds fan. I think Wilder will be sacked if we don't go up. It's a possibility. It was going to happen. Proves Cannon plays better with 2 striker formations. Let's get ready for the playoffs. I'm not going to stop supporting this team. Up the Blades. Of course not. Of course not. It's been a hell of a ride this season, from the -2 deduction, ownership changes, slow transfer activity, and then overperforming, creating possible unrealistic expectations onto the playoffs. Portland, Oregon, Blade, you couldn't be more right. You could not be more right. Holding and O'Hare have got to be starting that game. We've got a lot of players. We've got a lot of players that should be vying for a spot right now. And everybody needs to be playing out of the skins, and they're not, are they? So let's see what happens in the next 2 games. Shame, really, but understandable. High Green traditionally was the piggy end, so then not bothering around. I think that's still talking about coaches. I thought we played okay today. Poor mistake by an L. Great goal from Cannon. Leeds and Burnley deserve to go up. We are well capable of winning the playoffs. History means nothing. Oh, keep telling myself. I think there's actually, I think it's a bit of a myth that the team that finishes 3rd don't go up. I think it's happened more times than any other team in any other position, including 6th place, because everybody seems to think that 6th place comes into it and and storms through it, which has happened in the past. But I think 3rd place usually statistically goes up. So it'd be nice to see us do that. Love the jersey, one of the best in my opinion. Sheffield United ran out of steam. Great goal from Cannon. Bring on Wembley. In my last 69 years of watching this team, I have never been so embarrassed. All the players should terminate their contracts immediately. I think that's a Leeds fan. I think that's a Leeds. I think I can see the... oh, no, it's not. It's somebody with a Tottenham player on. But I don't know. You tell me. What happened at the end of the game with Chowdhury? I'm not sure, Claire, but I will look into that because it looked very unsavoury. And Chowdhury doesn't seem the guy to get involved in stuff like that. So something must have happened for Chowdhury to kick off like he did. Looked like the Burnley fans went for him. Right, okay. The most upsetting thing for me wasn't tonight's game. It was the way that we threw away against Oxford, Millwall, Plymouth. It's such a crucial part of the season. I think lots of Blades fans said before that we need to go into the Burnley game being 4 points clear because we don't trust ourselves going to Turf Moor and getting anything from the game. I must have put it up as 2-2 for some reason. The 1 and the 2 are really close. I'll have to change it afterwards. Or maybe did I do it on purpose for more comments? No, I didn't. I really didn't. You've mistyped the title. Thank you. Wilder with money is like giving someone who wants... I can't read some of these. Chowdhury was just throwing his toys out of the pram. I didn't say anything to justify a tantrum. That's definitely not a Sheffield United fan because I think we all know that Chowdhury is not that sort of person. Leeds fan here. I hope the Blades go up. You deserve it. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Sheffield United fans before the game on the Burnley forum were saying that Burnley fans... Right, okay. Yeah, definitely a Burnley fan. Only Alan Woodward could hit a ball from 25, 30 yards and bust the back of the net. That is Michael. I've never saw him play, but I've heard that quite a few times. Burnley fans were going after Chowdhury. Fair enough. See what happens in the playoffs. But I am going to the UK on the weekend of the playoff final. It's a wedding on the Friday before. Hope is not a plan, but hope is all I have. I like that. I'm going to use that in future. I really am. At least I'm kind of scored a goal and will help his confidence, says Daz. Andrew, last 10 minutes of the first half, a few were losing their heads. Enel especially, I think that's why he gave away the penalty. You've got to keep your heads. Enel is suspect to giving away a penalty every game he plays. Hope the new owners can select a team for next season. Wilder and co just don't seem to have enough nous. Fair enough. I do want us to go up. I don't want us to go up. We will struggle. I think, yeah, a lot of people saying that. I'm 66 now. Don't talk to me about stats. I am gutted, fuming. Worst performance of the season. You're saying it's the worst performance of the season, but if you don't have stats to back it up, stats can prove the fact that it's the worst performance of the season. I don't think it was, but it can certainly prove that we could have been better. Be massively disappointed in Harmer if he goes to Leeds. Should we stay down? He should go to a more established Prem team. I agree. I'll be gutted if he leaves and goes there. There were also talk of Leeds wanting Michael Cooper as well. I'll be gutted if he goes there too. We played okay today against Burnley, the Burnley machine. And now bad mistake for the penalty, but great goal from Cannon. Leeds and Burnley deserve automatics, but for once, I think we could actually win the playoffs, hopefully. It's always nice to have the second game at home. So if you are chasing the game, you're chasing the game at home. Everyone's saying 2-2, 2-2, 2-2. Yeah, apologies for that. I was doing it on my phone, and obviously it's small, and I've got big fat old fingers. Cheers for the response, pal. Would like to see us revert back to 5-3-2 again for the playoffs. You might see it. Who knows? Hallam FC did win the playoffs and got promoted. We were 2-0 down, 45 minutes to lose, but we won. Come on, Blades, we can do it. Yeah, well done, Hallam. Absolutely big fan of Hallam, and the manager, Craig Denton, is a good mate of mine. Can we also discuss how we had two right backs on the bench, but instead we started with a defensive midfielder playing at right back? It's a good point, but at the same time, it's probably just because he's been really, really good there. Right, I'm going to fly through some last few. Obsessed with Leeds. Okay. Burnley fan here. Good game. Some silly fouls from your lads that cost you. I think you'll be safe in the playoffs if you play like that today, but no fouls. Nick, what do you think happens if we don't go up? How many players do we lose? And does Wilder stay or get sacked? What do I think? That's tough. It's really tough because it really obviously depends what the owners think. I think there's a case for both Wilder, leaving United and also Wilder staying because he's done a fantastic job this season with, you can put a load of really good players together, but you need to get them playing together. And we've won 27 games this season. So that's not to be sniffed at. Obviously, this is in the Wilder column. Against Wilder is the fact that we've got one of the best teams in the league. We probably should have, at least put a point on the board against Leeds and Burnley or Burnley. And that's where we've come a cropper, really, because we've put ourselves in a really good position where we could have finished, in the top two. We were in a really, really good position. Yes, it was the lower teams that we dropped points to that ended up ruining us. But at the same time, you've got to be, putting pressure on Leeds, putting pressure on Burnley, because they shouldn't have an easy ride against us. So really, Wilder needs to look at that and think, how do we, turn up for these big games, find those big moments and score those big goals, because we have found some moments and some big goals this season, but none of them were against, the teams that really, really matter. No, he hasn't. No, he has not. the 𝗍𝗍𝗶𝗹𝗹 curse caught us up. I don't think it's a curse. I don't think there was ever really a curse in there because we've won a lot of games with 𝗍𝗍𝗶𝗹𝗃 on the front. While has been booked on anger management course next week. Okay. Trade Ladder seems to be not a big fan of Chris Wilder, I don't think. Do you think the playoffs are unfair, given a team could take 6 points from the team that finishes in 6th place or and lose out? It voids the points won earlier in the season, says Michael. So forgive me if I'm wrong in the exact sort of not laws, rules of the conference playoffs, but I believe that the team that finishes the highest in the playoffs goes straight through to the semi-finals. I believe. I think there's a preliminary quarterfinal, and then they go straight into the semi-finals. What you could do, I suppose, third team could go straight through to the final or something like that. But obviously, you know, it's worked like this for such a long time. It's exciting. It is. And at the end of the day, it's not because it's fair, is it? It's because it sells more tickets. It's because it's more fun for the neutral. I think if a team finishes 30 points in front of the 6th place, then yeah, you could possibly say it's unfair. But at the same time, you know, they just want a bit of competition, and they want it to be fun. And you know, if you sent someone straight through to the final, that probably would be unfair as well. They've not earned the right to be there in the first place, other than obviously the season. But I'm just kind of talking off the top of my head right now. I think it works well as it does, in all honesty. Let's move on to Championship is the hardest league out there. Hold your head high and fight on for playoffs. Absolutely, Carl. We have thrown it away in the last few games, but at the same time, we have done a fantastic job just to get where we are. Lots of Hamza love in the comments. Completely agree. Love the man. First half of the season, we were on a shoestring. We need to keep Chris. Have we ever won a playoff? No, we have not won a playoff. We've won a playoff game. We haven't won a playoff final. Playoffs keep the season alive for all the mid-table clubs. That too, yes. So I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, this has been a little bit of therapy again, as always. So, yeah, hopefully you've taken something away from this video. Make sure you like the video before you leave. Leave us a comment after as well. And obviously go and speak to Dom and the Netmore team. And, yeah, see if, you know, I'll pop it up on screen again. See if you are eligible to, you know, to earn 350 lovely pounds. Thanks for watching, ladies and gents, and I'll catch up with you very, very soon. Up the blades.
He leads us all the way, playing proper football, the Sheff United way. Ole, ole, ole.